Alright, so the irrigation system is pretty much set up. I just need nozzles for the hose. As you can see, there's a lot of red not in there. Basically the hoses need their tips, the nozzles on there, but those are all strawberries. Some of them have been planted for a while, others haven't. They're starting to get more water, so you'll see more in the back that are growing. The front two there don't really have anything growing yet because they were just replanted recently. Then we have sage over there. That was drying out, so some of them are now with the irrigation system set up. They're starting to liven back up. That's lavender, I believe. I might repot a few more, well, replant a few more in there to get it more abundant. That I forget what it is. I think it's some kind of parsley. And then on the end we have my rosemary, which out of a whole packet of seeds, only 2 of them actually started living and growing, and they're gradual, but now that's what 2 seeds ended up being. Just flourished. The whole pot is basically rosemary. It's a different kind of rosemary apparently, because I haven't seen rosemary look like that, but that's apparently rosemary. And then we have my purchased plant of strawberries. I got it from Wegmans. I might have to throw in a grow light up at the top there, that way it gets a little bit more adequate lighting so it flourishes and grows a few more strawberries. There's one on the side there. I had a few, but when they get full sun, they definitely sprout a lot more. But literally waited nearly a year for that plant. I was so happy when I was at Wegmans and I saw it, so I had to get it when I had a chance, because they only sell them for a limited time. Then my infected my infected pepper plants that were infected by spider mites, killed off pretty much a good portion of it. I mean, if you saw previous photos or videos of it or what have you, then you can see that they're really flourishing and what have you. I had a lot of sprouts of flowers and what have you, but they weren't growing peppers. You'll see a couple peppers on there. But when the spider mites came in and killed them off, I think it got pollinated a few of the flowers. So I actually was able to eat a few peppers before the spider mites got really into them, and I haven't ate those ones because once the spider mites started infecting, I didn't know where they were, so I didn't want to eat the spiders. I'm kind of stupid like that, I guess. But might replant one in there. That's part of one of the others that when I was setting up the irrigation system, it broke off, so I just threw it in there, and I'm leaving it in there for basically to feed the plants. Put it back in cycling. Throw some worms in there. I have the aquarium feeder set up so I can put cricket food in there, set it up on a cycle. I'll feed them on a daily, have some worms in there, get some good nutrients going in the soil. Worms basically have one of the best fertilizers according to what I read for plants, so especially when it comes to vegetable plants and what have you. So hopefully we'll get some good vegetables out of these ones, good peppers growing. Then we'll come into my living room. These are my pea plants. I have 3 tiers of pea plants. I mean, I grew them last time. I had a few of them. There's actually a few that grew. I don't know how old they were when they were, and I may have ate them a little bit early. They didn't taste so well, but I don't know if I'm gonna grow peas. But most of this was just to see if I could grow the peas. Now that I know that I can grow the peas and they can actually grow something, I might throw in something else other than sugar snap peas. Well, these ones, I forget what ones these are. These are snow peas, I believe. But I might get some sugar snaps or something in there. Something that I like a little bit more. But that's that setup. And then I have this part of the irrigation system still needs to be adjusted to, as again, I have 100 nozzles coming in to make sure that I can adjust the water flow and what have you, make sure things get watered properly. But there we go. That way, if it goes all the way across, and I know that my raspberry bush here doesn't look lively. It got attacked by the spider mites too, so it's been fighting. You'll see that part right there is more new growth, so it's surviving. Doesn't like the fact that it was in the window the way it was. It wasn't getting enough adequate lighting, I don't believe either, so Now with it having a grow light, this grow light just came in today. I repotted it yesterday into here. So now I'll get more adequate water on a more regular interval, and it will also get more adequate lighting. So hopefully it'll start flourishing a little bit more and grow a little bit better. Then we have these plants over here. I don't know what the one herb is on the side, but that one right here is basically a mixed herb planter. One of my first planters I used to grow herbs in. So that was pretty much me just trying to figure out how fast things grew, what they look like, and what have you. So that one hasn't, even though the herbs grew, I never actually ate any of those. And then we have that one there. I believe that's chamomile. That one was flourishing up until a few weeks ago, at least on one side. Now it started dying off and drying out because without the irrigation system and me being able to only water it once every few days, 3 days typically, it kind of dried out, and the plants didn't like it, so a lot of them started dying off. So I might have to add new seeds in there. We'll see after the irrigation system, with it being set up, if that's gonna help it out or not. And then that's back over there. These are the China seeds. Seeds that came from China, marked as being jewelry, and with me ordering seeds at the time, I didn't really realize that it might be, I mean, there is a red flag, but at the same time you can see I'm throwing them in planters, so even if it was an invasive species of any kind, then it's not really going to invade or cause any problems with them being in a planter like that. So no big concern. I still have the packet too. We'll find out what they are, but looking up on the USDA and what have you, most of the reports that they got, they ended up being some kind of herb, and I figured out early on that they're some kind of herb. I ate part of them, tasted good, so it's some kind of herb. I just don't know which. I think this is parsley. This was recently replanted, growing pretty well. That one I forget what it is. I have to start labeling everything a little bit better, that way I can remember what everything is, but oh well. It grows. I find out what it is after it grows, and then I'll grow more elsewhere. Then here we have one of my favorites, my green beans. They're growing pretty well. They love the grow lights, the double grow lights on them. Let me actually move that over a little bit here. There we go. That way they get a little bit more adequate grow. There's a green bean right there. But there's a few green beans. I picked off and ate some yesterday. There's another one there. But I ate quite a few yesterday, so it's gonna need a little time to grow more. And there's a bunch of little babies all around on there. But yep, one of my favorites. And then the spider mites devastated those too. So eventually I might grow them in a terrarium if needed, but we'll see. Usually I don't get a spider mite infestation unless it's winter time, and obviously spiders don't have anywhere to go over the winter, so they cling to my indoor plant, of course. Then we have my aloe vera. My aloe vera is one of my favorites. I got these plants from Lowe's a long time ago. This one was growing phenomenally. Now it's starting to die off a little bit after I repotted it because I need to put more potting soil in there. It's got a good mix, and I love the marbling effect, but it's just, it needs more soil in there. That way it gets more nutrients. And I also didn't have a grow light on there when I repotted it, and it's been in here for like a week, so part of it was dying off just based on the fact that it probably wasn't getting enough adequate light. This one, unfortunately, until I tacked up my curtains in the bedroom, I was near the bedroom trying to get natural light from there, and unfortunately with the wind blowing, window open and what have you, it blew the curtain into the plant dropped onto the floor, and there we go. Crushed a little bit of it, so that's why it looks like it's crushed in certain areas, but it's still alive, it's still growing. And then I had a lot of little babies in there, so with the big one anyway, so I put the babies around, see if they'll grow separately on their own. Then we have my new set of, I believe these are jalapeno peppers, since I figured, well, I could try to save the other ones, but why not grow new ones as well? So they're nice, evenly spaced out. They're not going to kill anything off by shading them or what have you. And they have their own grow light. So, and I love the aquarium grow lights. They're low wattage, Not only are they low wattage, but they provide adequate light to allow the plants to grow. And then these are my cayenne peppers underneath. I might throw in another one there just to have it a little bit more full and flush, but yeah, other than that, that's looking pretty good. Then we have my tomato plants. This is where, on the end here, that's where the raspberry bush originally was until I repotted it yesterday. And then we have next to it the bigger container there is another tomato plant. I might just kill that one off and do something else with the container because it's staying pretty much that size and it's trying to vine out and what have you, but it can't vine out so much and it's just starting to crowd things more than anything else. And I have this other tomato plant that they love their water, so I'll probably water it quite a bit more right now actually as soon as I get done with this video. But I had a few tomatoes that grew off it. It's pretty nice. I love the tomatoes. Hope we got a few more that might sprout up there, but I gotta start getting it better watered because even with the irrigation system set up, it doesn't water it adequately at the moment. I just have to make a few adjustments and then it will. And then that was where the aloe vera was, this big container here. So that's gonna get repotted and probably put up somewhere. And then these were a bunch of different herbs like dill and what have you, but due to me setting up the irrigation and one lack of irrigation, what have you, it kind of killed them off because they weren't getting enough water and what have you. Now with the irrigation, they should get enough water. I just need to reseed them. And this over here, some of it was dying off too. The ones in the back there that look like they're dying is pretty much the spinach. Spinach was growing really well. And then while I was setting up the irrigation system, which is common for me, it just kind of overwatered them, had to readjust everything, make it to where it waters it once a day rather than, once every week rather than 3 times a week. So it was just overflowing the jars, mason jars, and with that it just started killing things off. But that oregano there is doing really well. Then I got a few of the basils in there. And then the thyme started dying off after it started getting really overwatered. So now that I have it set up a little bit, and that's thyme over here, but that's where basically the spinach is dying off. And then that one, I forget what I replanted in there. I think I put spinach in, but we'll find out. And that's more spinach, but we'll get things adjusted, get it set up properly. Then over here I set up more sage because I didn't know if I was going to be able to save the other sage, but this is a 5.5 terrarium right next to my fridge. Some of it dying off because I overwatered it. As you can see that it's just soil is seeping with water. Again, set up the irrigation system, making adjustments and what have you. It just kind of started killing things off because there's too much water coming in, so made some adjustments and hopefully we won't have that happen again. It gets watered once a week rather than 3 times a week. And same applies here. A lot of overwatering. You can see that's really damp, but the rosemary didn't seem to mind it so much. Killed off that container, so those will have to be reseeded, and part of this one will probably have to be reseeded too. But the rosemary in the front here is doing well. I think that's parsley. The parsley didn't mind so much, but I might have to throw in a few more seeds. But now it's at least adequately getting watered. And next to lastly, going back to the living room, we have my strawberries. More strawberries. Different variety. I think these ones came from Czechoslovakia because when the COVID started, basically a lot of seeds were coming from other countries for I don't know why. But I would get them from different areas, coming in different languages and what have you. But it's like, all right, cool. I ended up being a really small packet of seeds, and I ended up getting it really late after I ordered it. And so I ordered other strawberries and got those quicker. But yeah. There we go. They're starting to grow now that they're set up on the irrigation system. They're a little happier, getting a little bit more water more frequently, so the seeds are starting to propagate and germinate. So And then lastly, my oregano. I think I showed you some of the pictures earlier to where they're kind of like seedlings. They're starting to grow and what have you, but now you can see it's really starting to flourish. So that is one of my pride and joys right there. I haven't tasted any of it yet, but again, since it's set up on the irrigation system, it's getting a lot more water, and after it's been getting a lot more water these past few weeks, being on its irrigation system, it's really starting to flourish. Loves the water. But that's my irrigation system and plants I currently have. You'll see up here that shelf no longer has terrariums or anything on it, but that might get redone. That over there might get redone, but that I think is going to be used as pretty much a computer stand. I might get another computer or two for up there. Then down there, that's, I think I'm going to put in a 20-gallon long. That over here needs to be redone. It's going to mess with all of the mail that comes in, but these plants, I think that will be like the big plants, things that I don't have to monitor, like a big planter or what have you. Things that I can see from a distance if need be, rather than having to look up above them. This is where some of my clothes are, but this also needs to be redone here, but I don't know what's going to be there. But then that I might put in a 29-gallon terrarium. That way I can have a tree frog and have some plants in there, and they might be edible for the frog, but not something I'm going to eat. Something that tree frog is going to be low maintenance, something I can look at periodically, and they don't like to be handled anyway, so it's a win-win situation. And over there, that's where I'll probably put another 10-gallon terrarium too for more seeds and more propagation. So still figuring things out, but I got a lot of room, a lot of things to play with. We'll see what happens.